Hey, I want to chat with you a little bit about how the mind works, some of the ways that our mind works really for us. And it's important to understand what's going on as far as like the mechanics and the breakdown of this so you can interpret things more accurately, you could say properly. So, in any given moment in time, we're constantly taking in stimuli. What we see, what we perceive, we are never actually seeing what we're looking at. Because the mind, certainly at this point in time for us, has reached a stage of conditioning. So it knows when it sees that thing that that means X, Y, and Z. It's a good thing, it's a bad thing, run, get out of there. Or, oh my God, that's it, go for that. There's always something going on as far as you're being advised constantly. There's always some dialogue there telling you go towards it or come away from it. You're either attracted or you're repelled. So, but in any event, what you're looking at is your mind's makeup of the stimuli that you're seeing. There is stimuli or phenomenon, and then you are seeing it. What you are seeing is what your mind is telling you about that stimuli, that phenomenon, not the actual stimuli or phenomenon itself. You're experiencing your mind's version, your mind's interpretation of whatever stimuli is being, looked onto, let's say. So if you are encountering something whereby you experience fear, I like to say that nothing is ever what it seems. So I'm sure you've heard maybe some wise old people say, it's never as bad as it seems. Well, the reason for that is because when you're seeing something, and if you are interpreting this thing as a negative, whatever it may be, if a shark has bitten your leg off, right? An experience is being had, and whatever that experience is at the time is going to be magnified and dramatized way much more than anything that's actually going on, let's say, because your mind is always trying to help you. You have taken in and taken on so much information at this point in your life. It's impossible for you to remember it all, but it's good for you to remember it. When you had an interaction with somebody and you had a negative experience from it, you felt negative emotion and you did not like that. So your mind right there takes note, oh, they don't like that. And its job is there's a part of your mind that's designed to keep you safe. And safe can look like, not feeling negative emotions that you don't want to feel, or not getting your, head bitten off by the tiger, or whatever it may be. And a way in which it does that is it reminds you when you're seeing something, if it remembers, when you were 5, if you saw that sort of thing, it's going to remember it. So now let's say now you're seeing something and it's like some version of that thing. You cannot possibly remember everything that you've ever entertained in your life, but it remembers. And so it is going to try and help you away from anything that could hinder you, which could cause you negative emotion or physical harm, and it's going to want to help you towards anything that will cause you positive emotion or is seen as something that you would want or that would want to be forwarded. It knows what you like. You're sending communication back and forth. So at all times. So anytime something is happening, it's never as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems, and it's never as good as it seems. Everything is neutral. Because nothing has any built-in inherent meaning to it. There's no rule. There's not a rule written in the sky that says this thing is a bad thing and this thing is a good thing. We make all of that up. And it doesn't take us very long. I mean, right away, we're indoctrinated. We have our parents telling us what we should think. We have school telling us what we should think. We have the government telling us what we should think. We have religion telling us what we should think. So now, we know what to think. Now, when we cried into this world, we didn't know a thing about none of that stuff. We just knew something didn't feel good, or, something feels great. It's like as basic and primal as that. Now, all this other stuff that we've taken on and that we live our lives by and we will fight for and die for and, all of this, that's stuff that we've taken on. That's a part of our conditioning. That's, belief systems that we've bought into. And a belief is a thought that is simply a thought that you keep thinking. So it's a thought that's gathered a lot of momentum. So you get pulled and swayed by that very easily. You don't even have to think about it. It just goes down in real time, like, you're getting jerked over here or jerked over there, and it's all down to because of what you believe. Now, so back to like what the mind is doing. So the mind is always bringing to the forefront what it wants you to see or know about whatever it is, whatever stimuli that you're up against or interacting with. And so if it wants you to know about something that it sees as a potential danger, let's say you had a boyfriend and he had a certain way of behaving, right? So now you're interacting with somebody years down the road and this person has some sort of similar way of behavior. Your mind is going to make you aware. Look, see that thing right there? Because as far as it's concerned, the last time that was going on, that didn't go so well for you because you experienced a lot of negative emotion. And its job is to keep you safe, not feeling bad, be it experiencing negative emotion or physical harm, whatever, but it's just telling you, go for it or get out of there. Now, this person is saying X, Y, and Z, and your mind remembers that that's similar to something that happened in past that you didn't like so much. So it is going to make sure that it sends you signals so you are aware of that thing. And so it's going to magnify and bring to the forefront those things that are being said. And you're going to be consumed with that. There's a lot else going on in that interaction. You're not going to be noticing that as much. You're going to be seeing exactly what your mind is putting right there for you in an effort to keep you safe, because that's its job. And it's good that we have this part of the mind that's designed to keep us safe. Back in the day when we maybe lived with the tigers and whatever, its job is to see things for us by way of memory. It's like a filing cabinet. It remembers things you can't even begin to remember, but it remembers them all on your behalf. Now, in that situation, let's say, whereby this person is acting a way that's similar to the person in past that you interacted with, whereby you experienced negative emotion around that interaction, there might really be nothing going on with this person. Like they might be being totally complimentary towards you, but you're not going to see it that way because your mind is telling you, get out of there, danger, 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 because it's seeing something that it remembers from a past experience that you then felt negative emotion around. Now, in that past experience, when you felt negative emotion around something, that's because you interpreted whatever they said to you in a certain way. And it's because of your interpretation that negative emotion was then had. You see, they can't cut you open and put negative emotion inside of you. No. Anything you're feeling, that's an inside job. You put that there because they can't get inside of you to put that in you. How did it get there? You put it there. You put it there by what you were thinking. Your thoughts create your reality. And a part of that is the emotions that you're feeling. So then you'll say, I feel terrible. They made me feel terrible. No, they didn't make you feel anything. They can't possibly. They cannot put feelings inside of you. You felt terrible because of something that you thought. and then you had a reaction to your thought. You see? And I know, like, I'm jumping all over the place with this. So this really, I mean, this is, this is just my way of thinking and the way my mind works. So this conversation is for somebody who wants to get up to speed with this sort of thing. And I mean, I try to like compartmentalize it and take it down a road and not jump all over the place too much, but I will jump all over the place. That's the way my mind works. And it's good to know all of that. It's good to recognize that, the way that something is happening for me is simply down to because I have thoughts and beliefs that means X, Y, and Z. Now, does it inherently mean X, Y, and Z, that, oh, it's a terrible thing, or oh, it's a great thing, or all it could possibly mean is it's not something preferred. Like, I don't think I would prefer somebody coming in the room right now and chopping my arm off. I personally just don't. I wouldn't prefer that. I don't think collectively, I don't think that we would prefer that, right? But now we know there are some people that their psychology works a little different. Some people, they're, what are they called, masochistic? Like, they enjoy pain. Like, they've gotten to the point where they enjoy pain. Now, we would say they're sick and we would just write them off because that's not the natural sort of order of things, you know what I mean? It's the idea is that you keep your arm, But in that snapshot moment in time, you can't tell that person any otherwise. So it's all down to experience. It's all down to, because they've obviously now got some beliefs going on, and their life will play out for them contingent upon their beliefs. So if their belief is that pain is a positive thing, they will have a wonderful time. They'll take that arm that was just chopped off, they'll be swinging around, hey, party up in here, that's, they're living. Because their thoughts are creating their experience. They're seeing through the lens, let's say, of their thoughts. And, that's what it is for all of us. Our mind is our lens. So like if your lens is dirty or cloudy and you look out onto life, life out there is as clean and beautiful as could be, but through your lens, no, it's not. It's gross, it's dirty, it's this, it's that. Why? Well, because you believe it's that way because of what you've got going on in your psychology. And your psychology gets built up based on what you think. And the more you think it gathers more momentum. And then it becomes your dominant way of seeing things and therefore hearing things and therefore interpreting things. And, that's all one and the same. It's all down to interpretation. So what I'd like to leave you with is, as you're interacting with life, with the people in your life and whatever's going on for you, really have a look and see, always check in with yourself and make sure, are you, and yes you are, telling a story? Is there a story running in the background of your mind as something's going on, with that part of your mind informing you, telling you, oh, this is a bad thing, oh, this is a good thing, why did they say that, they shouldn't say that, that's not right, da 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 da. I'll give you an example. I was just in the grocery store, just now, and I'm standing in line. Now, tonight, I have nothing to do. I have nothing to do. It's a full moon. I always say, I don't go out on the full moon. I don't need that in my life. Now, that's just, whatever. But, so I have nothing to do tonight. I get to just chill, right? So I'm not on any time schedule. Nothing like that going on for me. I'm just in the food store, and there's a lady up at the register. I'm next up, right? And I'm next up, there's this line here, there's this line here, there's people in that line, and I'm like, oh great, I'm next. So I get there, because I'm in such a rush. Oh great, I'm next, right? Like, what does it really matter? But anyway, great, I'm celebrating. So she's doing whatever she's doing on her phone. I don't know what was going on there. Maybe she was having an issue with figuring out which card to pay with. She was trying to see the money. I'm just assuming. But nevertheless, it was taking some time. And the cashier just said to me, and kept interacting with her. Now you can imagine, after a few seconds of this, this shouldn't be, I'm not saying this out loud, but what's going on in my mind is this shouldn't be happening like this. Because really, he should say to her, you know, ma'am, would you mind stepping aside? And once we get this figured out, I can hold this order for you. I'll check this gentleman out, and then, you know, I'll be right back with you at that point. But he's not doing that. So, you know, what's going on in my mind is that, you know, this shouldn't be happening like this. I should say something. I should say something to this guy, you know, and maybe it'd be good because maybe he would learn something from me. I could educate him, and, you know, that would be me doing a good thing, right? Maybe, or maybe that's just my ego's way of trying to get its way, because the most of me is thinking, dude, you don't have nothing to do, who cares? Like, really, what does it matter, right? But my default way of thinking in that situation is, this should not be happening. This should not be happening to me. I deserve better than this. I'm about to give these people my money. This is the type of experience they're giving. Should I get in this line? Well, no, because then there's more people there now. Maybe this will be over quickly, but and annoyance is going on. And I have to keep checking in with myself. Chad, what's up? What's going on? What's the emergency? Where do you have to be? Because the answer is nowhere. But my mind, based on what it's seen in past in those types of situations, I was feeling a lot of negative emotion in those times, or in those past experiences that looked similar to this. I was feeling stress and anxiety because I gotta go, because I got somewhere to be. I'm gonna be late. If I show up late, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen, right? So the mind is remembering from a past experience and pulling that forward into my now and telling me, this is not good. Do something. You need to do something about this. This is not, you know, like, that's how it's going down. That's how it's playing out. But in reality, nothing of the sort. But in that moment, if I don't have enough oversight to be able to keep checking in with my psychology and looking for, wait a minute, what's going on here? And the only reason I would be alerted to check into my psychology to question what's going on here is because I'm paying attention to the way I'm feeling. You know, like, I have it that I would prefer to feel positive emotion. So when I'm feeling negative emotion, I'm going to check in with myself to see, hey, wait a minute, what's up? What's going on? Why am I having this negative emotion? Is there a tiger in the room? Do I need to be running? Why am I feeling this? And that was just such a beautiful experience. And I really just was so thankful to the universe for providing that as an opportunity for me to see, you know, that's another insight for me to catch myself out. I love catching myself out, because every time I catch myself out, I realize what my default way of thinking is like, and I can really pay attention to that. Because when I can become a master of that, then I'm clear on what's going on. Is there really an emergency here? Do I need to be out this door right now? Do I need to hail down the manager? Do I need to put the grocery down, go out and come back another time? Or is this just me? Or is this just my brain informing me based on past experience that, you know, something's wrong here? Because that's just one isolated situation. But as I look at my life, my whole life goes that way. Because my mind is doing that non-stop. The only time I'm personally not aware of it is when I'm sleeping. Otherwise, that's just the loop that it's running, because that is what is, for me personally, is what's most practiced for me. In past, I've tended to tilt in a dramatic way of thinking. It comes as a sort of byproduct of trauma in the past, in my younger years, of experiencing what was for me trauma. And so the mind gets going a certain way of thinking, because what's there then is, I need to protect myself, so I'm not taken advantage of, or so nobody hurts me. So for one like me, because I'm aware that my thinking tends to tilt in that direction, I need to be really aware and present of my thoughts at all times. It's really helpful. So I wonder if you might have anything like that in your life. You know, I'm sure if you look, you'll find that, you know, you do. And we all do, to some varying degree. You know, some of us experience it way more, some of us experience it on the lighter levels. But nonetheless, that sort of thing does rob us of our peace and joy. So with what I've just shared with you, you know, I invite you to understand the mechanics of how things break down a little bit better, and really take a look at your life. You know, with what's going on at the time, and be aware, pay attention to that invisible conversation that's always going on in the back of the mind, constantly informing you of what you should think, what you should be doing, what you should be saying, all of that, and really check in and see, well, I don't know, is that so? Is that so? Because maybe not. And then maybe like that, from that, standing in that sort of place, you can create a totally different type of person that you can be. And it will take a lot of drilling this in. It will take a lot of oversight. It will take a lot of trying, playing a game with yourself, of trying to catch yourself out, and see why it is that you're seeing and perceiving things the way that you're seeing and perceiving them. And asking yourself, wait, is that accurate? Is that accurate? And where it gets really fun and interesting is when you do it not just with negative things, but with what you want to consider positive things as well. So you get to the point where you really prove out for yourself that life is simply what you say it is, that everything is neutral. And the way that it's occurring for you, that's a sort of onlay that you put on top of the stimuli of life and say it's this kind of way. It's good, it's bad, it's this and that. Well, it's simply stimuli. And some of it, yes, because, there are just certain, in the same way there are certain laws that govern the universe that we live in, there are certain ways in which it's better for us to go through life, I mean, I could chop my arm off right now, but maybe better that I don't. And that's, you'd have to look into that. That's very dramatic, I know, but you would have to look in your life and see what works for you and what does not. And then catch yourself out in all the in-betweens to see, are you really seeing things the way it is? And I guarantee you, if you really take the time to look and do this work, you will realize that I would say almost always you are never seeing things exactly as they are. And you will truly never get to the point where you see things exactly as they are, because for you it will never be that they are exactly any sort of kind of way, because you cannot get past the lens or the filter in which you look through. All you can do is clean that lens as best as you can and keep it as clean as you can. But we live in a way where life is moving so fast, and it's only getting faster and faster and faster, and you're not just dealing with one thing at a time, you're dealing with so many things all at once. So there's just gonna be stuff on your lens. All you can do is keep it as clean as possible. But just know that it's never fully as it seems, positive or negative. And you can really help yourself out by taking a good look, always, at what's going on for you, and maybe why things are showing up the way they show up for you. Anyway, that was a long one, I think, but maybe it wasn't for you. It was fun. So anyway, hope you get something from that. That's very valuable for me, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.